Hello, my name is Miss Harrison and I'm the very proud head teacher at the Archer Academy Secondary School in East Finchley. I'm delighted that you are a part of our Phantom Tollbooth Community Literacy Project. This is the third year that we have run this project and it has had such a wonderful impact on Year 6 students and helping you to prepare really confidently for moving to secondary school. But we're aware that at the moment life can be a bit tricky being a Year 6 student, and that's why primary and secondary school teachers across the community have worked together to find a way of ensuring that you still have access to this beautiful novel and all of the work that you can do to help yourself be really Year 7 ready. So it's going to be my great privilege this morning to read you the first chapter of The Phantom Tollbooth by Norton Juster. And as I read you that story this morning, I'd like you to think about the following things. What type of little boy is Milo? At the start of this story, what do we learn about him? What are some of the decisions and ideas that he has about himself and the world around him as he begins this unexpected journey? So let's jump in and let's enjoy the first chapter of this beautiful story. There was once a boy named Milo who didn't know what to do with himself. Not just sometimes, but always. When he was in school, he longed to be out, and when he was out, he longed to be in. On the way, he thought about coming home, and coming home, he thought about going. Wherever he was, he wished he was somewhere else, and when he got there, he wondered why he'd bothered. Nothing really interested him, least of all the things that should have. It seems to me that almost everything is a waste of time, he remarked one day as he walked dejectedly home from school. I can't see the point in learning to solve useless problems or subtracting turnips from turnips or knowing where Ethiopia is or how to spell February. And since no one bothered to explain otherwise, he regarded the process of seeking knowledge as the greatest waste of time of all. As he and his unhappy thoughts hurried along, for while he was never anxious to be going where he was going, he liked to get there as quickly as possible. It seemed a great wonder that the world, which was so large, could sometimes feel so small and empty. And worst of all, he continued sadly, there's nothing for me to do, nowhere I'd care to go, and hardly anything worth seeing. He punctuated this last thought with such a deep sigh that a house sparrow singing nearby stopped and rushed home to be with his family. Without stopping or looking up, he rushed past the buildings and busy shops that lined the street and in a few minutes reached home, dashed through the hall, hopped into the lift, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and off again, opened the door of the flat, rushed into his room, flopped dejectedly into a chair and grumbled softly, "Another long afternoon." He looked glumly at all the things he owned, the books that were too trouble to read, the tools he'd never learned to use, the small electric car he hadn't driven for months, or was it years, and the hundreds of other games and toys and bats and balls and bits and pieces scattered around him. And then, on the far side of the room, he noticed something he had never seen before. Who could possibly have left such an enormous package and such a strange one? For while it was not quite square, it was definitely not round, and it was larger than almost any big package he'd ever seen. Attached to one side was a bright blue envelope which simply said, "For Milo, who has plenty of time." Of course, if you've ever received a surprise package, you can imagine how puzzled and excited Milo was. And if you've never received one, pay close attention, because someday you might. "I don't think it's my birthday," he puzzled, "and Christmas must be months away, and I haven't been outstandingly good, or even good at all." He had to admit this, even to himself. "Probably I won't like it anyway, but since I don't know where it came from, I can't possibly send it back." He thought about it for quite a while and then opened the envelope, but just to be polite. 1 genuine turnpike toll booth, it stated, and then it went on. Easily assembled at home and for use by those who have never travelled in lands beyond. Beyond what? Thought Milo as he continued to read. This package contains the following items. 1. Genuine turnpike toll booth to be erected according to instructions. 3. Precautionary signs to be used in a precautionary fashion. Assorted coins for use in paying tolls. 1 map, up to date and carefully drawn by master cartographers, depicting natural and man-made features. 1 book of rules and traffic regulations, which may not be bent or broken. And in smaller letters, at the bottom it concluded, results are not guaranteed, but if not perfectly satisfied, your wasted time will be refunded. Following the instructions, which told him to cut here, lift there, and fold back all around, he soon had the toll booth unpacked and set up on its stand. He fitted the windows in place and attached the roof, which extended out on both sides and fastened on the coin box. It was very much like the toll booths he'd seen on family trips, except, of course, it was much smaller and purple. What a strange present, he thought to himself. The least they could have done was send a motorway with it, for it's terribly impractical without one. But since, at the time, there was nothing else he wanted to play with, he set up the 3 signs. Slow down, approaching toll booth. Please have your fare ready. Have your destination in mind. And slowly unfolded the map. As the announcement stated, it was a beautiful map in many colours, showing principal roads, rivers and seas, towns and cities, mountains and valleys, intersections and detours and sites of outstanding interest, both beautiful and historic. The only trouble was that Milo had never heard of any of the places it indicated, and even the names sounded most peculiar. I don't think there really is such a country, he concluded after studying it carefully. Well, it doesn't matter anyway, and he closed his eyes and poked a finger at the map. Dictionopolis, read Milo slowly, when he saw that his finger had chosen. Oh, well, I might as well go there as anywhere. He walked across the room and dusted the car carefully. Then, taking the map and rulebook with him, he hopped in and, for lack of anything better to do, drove slowly up to the toll booth. He deposited his coin and rolled past. He remarked wistfully, I do hope this is an interesting game, otherwise the afternoon will be so terribly dull. So you've met Milo. What a funny little boy. A little boy who seems to need a great deal of encouragement to find the world around him interesting. But regardless, this package has captured his imagination and he's setting off on a journey that is going to change his life. A little bit like the journey that you are about to set off on, your journey to secondary school. So think back to those questions I asked you at the beginning. What have we learnt about Milo in those first few pages? How might that set up his character for the journey he's about to go on? I hope that you thoroughly enjoy reading the rest of the book, and I look forward to hearing all about your adventures.